Dímelo. Down, 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 down. Beautiful.
Welcome to the West Roundtable. I'd like to introduce the Roundtable team. We have Robert Coates, but I do not see him this evening. Laura Karen is our Council Roundtable Commissioner. She'll be with us next month. Roundtable staff, Jeremy Labonte, Bob Bitgood, Robert Hart, and of course, myself, Lisa Kozel-Kenyon, and Danielle Stromberg. Sorry. All right. Could we all please prepare for prayer? Dear Lord, please bless our packs, troops, crews, and explorers as we celebrate the anniversary of the Scouting movement. We give thanks for the millions of youth and leaders who have walked this trail before us. May our members always remember the Scout oath and law and find strength to do their best in service to you and their country. Help us to be worthy of the worldwide brotherhood of Scouting, and may our lives continue to reflect the high ideals we have pledged to uphold. Amen. I would like to bring up Jeremy Labonte for the pledge.
So Scout salute, civilian salute. I
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2. Scout sign. On my honor,
I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
a scout is trustworthy,
loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
2. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. How many people are new to Roundtable? What year, Mr. McCure? Hi, Jonathan. Glad to see you here at Roundtable today. Well, welcome, everyone. Could I have Ryan Hagerman come on up from the Northwest area?
Hello, everyone. I have 2 announcements for you all today. We have a couple of events coming up, still within the month of February, that we're really getting excited about now because we're only a couple weeks away. The first one, Scouting Day at the State House. This is a great opportunity for all of your scouts to maybe leave school a little bit early, come down to the state capitol. They're going to get to meet their state representatives, their state senators, and get to see what it's like at the state capitol. It's a really cool building, 4th largest unsupported dome in the world, so they say. And it's going to be a great time. It'll be at, well, the information was on the slide. I believe it's 3 o'clock is the start time. We're asking families to get there a little bit earlier. Scouts in full uniform, please register at the calendar link so that we know that you're coming. So we have name tags and can send you to your right state representative or senator. Number 2, we have another event the same week, that Friday, the 27th at 7 p.m. in Barrington. We have Scout Shabbat. Now, this is an annual celebration, just like lots of troops and packs have Scout Sunday at their church or wherever, whatever church that they attend. There's one council-wide Scout Shabbat because we don't have any troops that meet at Jewish temples. And that is going to be in Barrington at Temple Sinai. No, Temple Sinai is Cranston. At Temple Habanim, 7 p.m. Again, register using the QR code or the link in our calendar. That'll be a great time. Patches, food, and drinks will be provided as well. I hope to see some of you there, and looking forward to all the great events we have coming up in the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Oh, are there any questions? First.
Thank you, Ryan. Mr. Coates, do you have anything to say? Awesome. Any district chairs have anything to say? All right, let's move on to Mike Marseglia and Leader Palooza. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, Mike. Cool. Mike from Mike. Hey, what's up? Mike Marseglia, previously Northwest District Chair, just finished that term up now. Leading up Leader Palooza, I got some fancy flyers for y'all with a QR code so that you can sign up. How many of you have been to a Leader Palooza before? Few of you haven't. Okay, so just for those of you who haven't, Leader Palooza runs 3 different tracks. Runs a Cub track, a Scouts BSA track, and a committee track. So it's fun for the whole family. You can bring your whole unit down, bring your committee chair or other committee members, bring your Cub leader, bring some Scouts BSA unit leaders, and you can all go through together. We've got 3 great presenters. We've got Steve Zanoski doing the committee member track. We've got Jonathan Alvarez doing the Cub leader track, and we got Bill O'Donnell doing the Scouts BSA track. It goes from 7:30 to I think it's like 12-ish. We'll call it 12. 7:30 to 12 over at Navigant Credit Union, conveniently off 295 Route 7. We'll have a little coffee and beforehand, and you'll get a special patch, of course. So I'm gonna pass out some flyers to everyone. Even if you've already been yourself, if you don't mind, just pass it on to someone in your unit that you think should attend. Referrals are great, especially if you've already been to one. And if you have any questions, I'll be around somewhere, probably hanging out in the back. Okay? Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I'd like to have Martin and Karen come on up and discuss our safety moment.
Thank you so much. So just to start, I'm the health officer at Norse. I served last summer in that position. We'll be serving again at Norse in that position. So I'll be talking about health forms in general, not just at camp. I've dealt with them a lot, so I think I know them pretty well. We're going to go through a video first, and then after that, basically, I'm just kind of recapping that. It is kind of an older video, but I think it gets to the point.
Oh, what? Mm-hmm. Let me go back. Sorry. Parts A and B. I don't know how to click that.
While they're fixing that presentation, there's also a paper coming around that the front page just says what each part of the med form is, and then on the back side is pictures of the med forms with little snippets of how to do that as well. If you want more copies, we can definitely get some more. Please feel free to hand those out to new parents, new leaders, as they'll have to go through the pain of filling out med forms.
That one.
Yes. So I am gonna talk about Camp Doc once we get there. And yeah, actually that brings up the point. If any point during this presentation you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. Me whistling.
High adventure excursion. Having fun is very important to everyone in Scouting, and so is their safety and well-being. Completing the annual health and medical record is the first step in making sure you have a great Scouting experience. The BSA annual health and medical record, often known as the medical form or the annual physical, is designed to help ensure that all participants in the Scouting program are healthy enough for the adventure of Scouting. It is not intended to limit participation, but to inform and protect. One thing parents and leaders normally want to know is why the BSA requires a release and a health history of all participants in scouting events. There are actually three key reasons. First, completing a health history promotes health awareness and provides critical information needed to treat someone in the event of an illness or injury. It also provides consent for treatment in the event a participant needs emergency care while traveling away from a parent or guardian. Second, poor health and lack of awareness of risk factors have led to disabling injuries, illnesses, and even fatalities. And third, the annual health and medical record also serves as the tool that enables counselors to operate day and resident camps and adhere to BSA and state requirements. Parts A and B should be completed for all participants and scouting leaders. Part C should be completed by a licensed healthcare provider before the participant attends any scouting event that is longer than 72 hours, such as a summer camp, trek, or multi-day excursion. The optional high adventure risk advisory, formerly known as Part B, needs to be shared with the examining medical provider during the pre-participation examination to explain known health risks for each of BSA's 4 high adventure bases. Additionally, your council may develop a risk advisory specific to your council camp or other properties or events. To assure privacy, the form should be maintained by a designated leader, carefully stored and used only as needed to provide for planning and rendering care. Medical forms should not be scanned, stored, or sent electronically except as specifically directed for a BSA national event such as the National Jamboree. To keep up with possible changes in health status, the form needs to be updated annually or when a participant's health information changes. Find more tips and resources on AHMRs and other safety moments on the Scouting Safely website at scouting.org.
All right, like I said, kind of an old, somewhat cheesy video, but it gets to the point. Again, I'm just going to go through and kind of recap what that said. So first off, you've heard probably the term med form, medical form. That's the more common term, that like the nickname for it. It's designed to just ensure the safety of all scouts and participants, and make sure that there's consent for someone to treat, whether that's a leader, the health officer, or even another scout as well. It needs to be updated annually, so most of you are probably getting to that time, as we all do it right before summer camp. And it expires every year, so there's no, oh, I can push it a little bit. The example, which I did take it out of the presentation, because I don't know much about cars, but it actually said, just like your inspection sticker for your car. You can't wait till the day after it expires. It has to be the day of, no later. You can go to the, that is true. You can go to the next slide. So parts A and B should be completed for all participants, whether that's little Johnny Scout or you as a leader, even if you're just going for an hour to an event, that is all participants. And part A is just simply that first page, lots of words. Most of us probably have never read it, but that's just the consent page. And then part B is 2 pages. It doesn't matter if it's front and back or 2 front pages. Either way is fine. But make sure both of those pages get done because people forget there's a B2. You can go to the next slide. Part C, completed by a licensed healthcare professional for any event over 72 hours, including summer camp for our scouting BSA program, trek or multi-day excursions. So this also goes for even if you were to say visit your unit at Yagu just for the day, you need to also include part C because that is a 72-hour camp, even though you're not staying those 72 hours. High adventure risk, also known as part D for some of those that are older in the program. Everything says it's optional, advised, it needs to be shared. So there's weird conflicting language, but it should be shared with the medical professional during that physical. There's nothing to be signed on it. It's just simply information that has a lot of things to do with, for example, the Summit Betchel Reserve of what activities there are that could have limiting factors for your health and safety. The form should be maintained by a designated leader. Probably one or two, because they do need to be with you at any event you go to, such as a Klondike. You should have those with you, even if you're going as a unit to camp at Champlin or Norse just for a weekend as a unit trip. And that needs to be with you. I know there's some units that are like, oh, we have them documented, that's fine, but it's then with a unit leader that's at their house and not with the unit that's camping. So we need to make sure those are with you presently. If you could go back, sorry. To assure privacy, they need to be stored carefully. Don't just kind of throw them on your kitchen counter one after the weekend. We want to keep them stored properly, which is really important because, um, excuse me, Scouting America as a program is not compliant with HIPAA. We are not held to those standards. So if your information, sorry, I keep wandering forward. Um, that information is laying around or it gets out accidentally, Scouting America as an organization cannot be held responsible for that. So that is just important to note. Again, a scout is trustworthy. So we're not going to go around just sharing that Johnny Scout has diabetes because that's just not trustworthy. It's also just not nice. But again, we're not held to the same standards as a medical professional. Now, as a health officer myself, I would not be sharing that information with anyone other than my camp director or the staff that needs to know. And yeah, next. The wonderful and amazing Camp Doc. So it's a way for summer camps to keep med forms digitally. And just a quick personal thing is it does help in the field. Back in the day, I'd say probably at least 5 years ago. You used to have to radio another staff member to then look at med forms and flip through all of these things of paper. Now you can just actually be there as a health officer with your phone, pull up that document and say, okay, I know I can't give this scout this type of treatment because X, Y, and Z. So it's very helpful in the field to help with faster treatment. Now, Camp Doc is the standard for summer camps alone, not outside of summer camp. So that being said, Camp Doc is a program that National has basically said, we're going to use this for summer camp. It's not a scouting program itself. So for example, I don't know if they actually use it, but like your YMCA summer camp could be using it. Your Boys and Girls Club could be using it. So it's not just related to scouting. Now, we had the question at Monday of printing that. I don't think you can actually now as a leader because they just changed it. And even if you wanted to, I wouldn't because it's at least 16 pages long. So you're wasting a lot of ink if you're printing that and paper. And it is slightly longer answering the questions. I know I said printed at 16 pages, but it's probably about maybe 20 more questions online, and it's simply just because it's again for summer camp. So there's slightly more different information that's needed for that. And then I believe these are just some more resources that were on the scouting website if you wanted any of those. And then that is everything. Is there any questions, comments, concerns? No? A lot less questions than there were on Monday. I'm not complaining though. There was a lot Monday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much. And we will be going into our breakouts. If you are here for the Cub breakout, it will be in the next room over, and Scouts BSA side is over here. I'll give you 5 minutes to switch rooms. Hi, I'd like you to welcome Jonathan DeLulio from Yagu, and we're going to have a presentation on Camp Yagu. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you. All right. So we've got this little presentation here. I've got a lot of notes that I had typed up that I'm going to try not to read word for word, so I'm paraphrasing. But also, I want you to interact with me if you have questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. So kind of to start off, who has been to Yagu? All right, good. That's excellent. So this presentation isn't directly about Yagu. It's more about getting kids to camp, specifically summer camp, and why that's important and how that affects the program that we're doing. We'll begin right now, I guess. So I am not Patrick Dalton. He took the Monday slides. He is the assistant general manager. I am very fortunate to have him as my right-hand man. So really handling a lot more stuff this year, the other side of the roundtables, in fact. So he's going to have some contact information on here, and I'll give you mine at the end of the presentation as well. So why is summer camp important? There's this quote on here. Does anybody know who said this quote? Ooh, pretty good. I heard somebody say it, and it is not Rob Coates. It is Lord Baden-Powell. So this is awesome. I heard this quote when I was in the CIT Corps at that point in time, and I thought that was really cool. I was like, Mom, I'm learning more than I'm learning at school because I'm going to camp for so many weeks. She did not appreciate that as much as I did. But it's a different way to learn. And if you think of camp as a learning opportunity, you're going to learn a lot. Something that we pulled data for last year, 80% of scouts who don't go to summer camp don't stay in the program. That is a really, really important bit of information. How many people have 100% of scouts in their troop going to summer camp? How many have about 90%? Okay. Anybody at 80? Ballpark. 70? 60, 50, somewhere in that part. Okay. So really good that a lot of people in this room are over 70%. A C- is still passing, but we want to get on the honor roll. We want to do a little bit better than that. So 80% of scouts who don't go to summer camp, don't stay in the program. So why might they not be going to camp? We'll get to that point, but we want to help people get to camp. And one of the biggest things, there are barriers to kind of prevent people from going to camp. One of those is finances. So next slide, sorry. Oh, Pat rearranged some stuff on me. So how can we help with that? There's an award that's going out now, the Lighthouse Award, and one of those things is having an adventure presentation. An adventure presentation means you get a personal experience with a staff member, whether it's myself, Patrick, somebody from day camp, if it's more targeted towards Cubs, one of our camp directors, a couple of our program commissioners, all helping out to get an adventure presentation to your unit. It's interactive for your scouts. It's interactive for the adult leaders. You can even encourage your parents to come and attend. And it's very informative. So you might not know what's going on new at camp, but it's very, very helpful to have everybody all in the room at the same point in time. So questions from parents often happen after the presentation if they're not there for the scouts, and the scouts may not know. So if you get everybody in the room at the same time, it allows all of the questions to kind of happen, and everybody gets on the same page with what's going on. There we go. The finances. That was the first bullet point that I had. So summer camp costs has gone up every single year. It's just one of those things. Everything costs more. We try and pay the staff more because everything costs more for them as well, as they're kind of growing up and have to pay car payments, all that kind of stuff. So we want to help with that. There is a phenomenal campership program that exists. How many people know of the campership program? All right, excellent. So for those of you that don't know what the campership program is, the Narragansett Council has a forever commitment. The forever commitment started in the 90s. I'm not sure on the exact date, but the board made that commitment that if somebody needs financial help and support to get to camp and can't make the payments, the Narragansett Council wants to help with that. The process has changed over the years, and it's in Blackpug now. It was Microsoft Forms for a while. There was paper applications, so it's really kind of progressed. But that campership program is able to offer over $150,000 in scholarships to kids that need help, financial help to get to camp. So it's really important that if there are scouts in your troop that need financial help, and you're seeing that on weekend campouts, you're seeing that with dues, you're seeing that all throughout the program, that you encourage them to have their parents apply. Sometimes parents may be hesitant to apply. They may not know. There may be a language barrier with it. At that point, I encourage the scoutmaster to kind of take control, fill out as much information about that individual that you have, and put it in an application. We want to make sure that we are helping kids get to camp. I kind of skipped ahead on the finances. But what other barriers to kind of prevent kids from going to camp? So that 10%, that 20% of kids that aren't going, maybe it's vacation, maybe it's something else that is going on. They grandparents are in town, people are coming up to visit. So schedule conflicts all kind of around. That happens, but there are 7 different weeks to go to camp. It doesn't have to just be the 1 week that the troop's going. I got to attend in 2011. At that point, Baden Powell, now Fun Friends Adventure, which is our provisional camp for troops. It's an awesome opportunity where scouts are able to meet different scouts from all over New England, all across the country. We've got scouts from Florida and Colorado and Texas that have already registered for this year's Fun Friends Adventure program. So they get to have a very unique opportunity to meet other people that they definitely wouldn't meet otherwise, especially if they were just attending with the troop. They form a unit similar to how a normal troop kind of attends, but it's a little bit different having such a diverse group kind of attend. So they act like a troop. They're able to participate in all of the different programs. They have that program sign up. So if they want to get on the inflatables at Adventure Island, still definitely possible. So awesome opportunity to make sure that your scouts are getting to camp in one of the other 6 weeks if they're not able to attend the week that you're going with your troop. Parent hesitation. How many people have parents that are hesitant about sending their kids away, whether it's for the first week, first time ever, maybe it's the 6th time that they've gone away and they've gotten hurt before or something like that. That hesitation, it happens. There's kind of a lot of stuff that we do behind the scenes, specifically Patrick, myself, Ethan, to kind of make sure that we're keeping up to snuff on all of the standards and everything. Does anyone know what the I'm gonna say abbreviation NCAP stands for? Other than Vinny? Yes. And the P? There we go. Yes. So the National Camp Accreditation Program has a lot of standards. Anyone want to take a guess as pages are in the book of standards that exist? How many? Up, up, up. Not 947, but 390. And that's just for like standards of rules and regulations that we have to follow. So it's a lot. It hasn't always been that much. It's kind of grown and grown and grown every single year. But based on the number of pennants that we have that are hanging in the office, we have been certified for over 32 years of that program. As of the past 5 where I have been in charge, and the past 23 with Tom, from all the records that I've seen, that there have been no variants variances or waivers on that. So that means we've complied with the rules and regulations that they put forth to the fullest. So that's something that we are really, really proud of. Those standards are very similar to the American Camping Association program that is broader camps, so YMCA camps, kind of every other camp that needs to get accredited kind of goes through that. So we're unique in Scouting America and have NCAP, but everyone else uses ACA. There are a lot of parallel standards that kind of make sense to follow. So we've we've been doing this for over 32 years and really excelling at that. That's something that you can drive home with your parents. Hey, we really know our stuff. If they have questions on like what does that include, I have a couple different binders that I'm more than happy to pull out and show them. Uh, we've got people certified to do each program kind of center. So our directors have to go to camp school. So the challenge director has to go to at least a week long camp school. Our shooting sports directors have to go to either 4 different weekends to get basic training and then a week long camp school to get more formalized how to operate with a staff and do that safely. So each department has all of these different kind of specifics that need to happen. And we make sure that we're following that to a T. One of the most recent ones is our mesh recommended practice. That kind of when we saw it, we were having a lot of problems with that with staff. Does anyone know? Does everyone know what mesh is? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. MESH stands for mental, emotional, and social health. So that's something that's really prevalent, especially since after COVID, we've been seeing a lot of youth and adults have more anxiety, more difficulty with just getting through the social world and interacting with people in a different way. So to kind of head that on and make sure we're doing something about that, we have hired a full-time mesh counselor to be on our staff. Um, they are not a professional 32-year practicing counselor that's out and about, but they are supervised by a member of our executive board who is a 32-year practicing licensed mental health therapist. Um, so we had hired Sage Moore for the past couple of years, a student at the University of Rhode Island in psychology. This is kind of the field that she wanted to go into, and she's not coming back this year. So we're looking at a couple different options of school counselors and seeing their availability to kind of have a little bit more experience. But it was awesome to have somebody that wanted to help that specifically in the mesh world, and then also be able to interact with our staff, get to know them, see them at the fun events, see them at the sad times, but be there for them. And kind of take a weight off of my shoulders, the camp director's shoulders, because there's a lot of other stuff that happens at camp, and we can't always fully dedicate ourselves to that kind of a need. So that position took on some training. That training being first aid, mental health first aid for youth. Um, it's a 2-year certification that about 7 to 10 people on our staff have. It's honestly one of the best trainings that you could probably get for mental health in general. There's QPR, which I don't entirely remember what it stands for, which is the other one that I believe we have offered in the past as a council. But Mental Health First Aid Youth is a nice, well rounded kind of program that touches on a whole variety of topics: anxiety, eating disorders, um, anything that people might be going through. So it's really prevalent and helpful uh, for interacting with people that are going through something really emotional, whether it's a kind of a breakdown situation where they can't handle themselves and we need to intervene and make sure they get on top of it. Um, but having that person is something that we at Camp Yagu were able to help offer in support for our staff and support for leaders and scouts. That's not the case at every camp. Other camps kind of had a plan on paper, and a plan on paper is not always great when you kind of see different situations arriving that you had no idea could even exist. So we were really lucky to have somebody dedicated to this. So I would really say that's a really perk of coming to Camp Yagu. All right, we'll try the next slide just in case. we can go back, I guess. Still on parent hesitance. Security. So security, when you think of camp, kind of what do you think of? I want some interaction so I don't have to speak the whole time. Yes, and in what way, other than every way?
Stranger danger type situations.
Yes. Does anybody know our intrusion policy? Has anybody ever been to a Sunday leaders meeting, maybe, where I get to talk on like 23 different bullet points? It's okay if you haven't. I may have seen some of you there. Adult leaders get wristbands at the beginning of the week. So there are plastic wristbands that none of us have on at this point because we're not at summer camp. But our adult leaders are required to wear those all throughout the week. Our visitors are required to check in at the Buckland. They present an ID. That ID gets recorded down. And then they have a more flimsy wristband, but it's bright red. It says visitor on that. Our staff have these ID name badges that have a nice picture of them. And they have their staff hat to go kind of along with that. So that way everybody can be recognized. And while most of us are in uniform and always look like we're supposed to be there, the only real way that we know that is via the wristband policy and our staff having those name tags. So our intrusion policy is really good. We train our staff during staff week to make sure, hey, if you see somebody that doesn't have a wristband, direct them to go to the Buckland to make sure that they are checked in. If you don't feel comfortable, please grab your middle manager. You can go up the chain of command and make sure that you're approaching them appropriately. So that way we can get the situation handled. But that's top priority. We want to make sure everybody in camp is supposed to be there. What else do we think of when we think of keeping our scouts safe at camp? Weather. Thank you. We've had some wonderful weather over the past several weeks. Who made it to the Klondike? Yeah, who had fun at the Klondike? All right. Anybody have hot chocolate in the dining hall at one of the warming stations? Anything like that? All right. Cool. So we got to game plan what to do in an entirely different style of weather than we're used to dealing with in the summer. And that was kind of cool to game plan and make sure we were doing everything appropriately. There are kids that still went home throughout the day because they wore sweatshirts, they didn't have the right gloves, they weren't totally prepared for what was going on. But when it comes to summer camp, we've got a lot of different scenarios listed as far as weather emergencies, as what we can kind of handle and what we're supposed to do in that. We practice a lot of them with our staff. There's a nice siren that goes along with those. If you've ever heard that or not heard that, if you're coming to camp, you'll probably hear that. There's a 12 o'clock fire drill on Monday where that gets practiced. The 30-second siren to make sure that everybody knows what to do if we were to mobilize. And there's been talk about kind of push notifications to people's phones if we need to do something a little bit more, I don't know, broad communication in a rainstorm or something like that. There's been reports that Street Scout Zucolo can't hear the siren, which crazy to kind of think that you can't hear that siren, but when it's thundering, lightning, lots of rain, it's a kind of a little bit different acoustics. So that's on our radar to kind of have a communication system. We do have an app that sends out notifications. I wouldn't say that that's our first line of defense, but it's a good way to kind of push forth notifications of what's going on. But our staff are trained to go out and kind of follow the process when it comes to mobilizing. If it's in the middle of the night, we had a couple of those this past year, sending people to each campsite, waking up the adult leaders, making sure that everybody knows, hey, 15 minutes, probably the storm's coming. We've got to get everybody to the dining hall. Are you awake enough to understand me and make sure you're getting your scouts up? It's always an important thing to ask because some people just pass right out after. But emergency procedures are a top priority, especially this year. The national organization has kind of sent forth what they want to happen, which is every scout executive has to review all of the emergency procedures this year and then sign off on them. So Tim is in that process with Joram and myself, and he's already made plenty of notes. There's a lot of things that we can improve on, and we want to do so. So that's definitely in process. All right. Staff training. I know I touched upon it for our directors and that sort of thing. But every staff that goes to camp has to get trained in safeguarding youth training. I was going to say youth protection training, but that has changed. So safeguarding youth training, that needs to happen for everybody. It needs to happen for all adults that are coming to camp. All adults need to be registered to stay overnight. That's a new one as of a couple of years ago. All of our staff need to take hazardous weather, so directly related to our emergency procedures. And then there's a new training that's now online. It's something that we've done in person every year, but not everybody's always at camp on that specific day when we do the training. So it's nice that they've got it online now. And that's youth on youth abuse. So it's really important that our staff are able to recognize situations that should be prevented or even be able to stop inappropriate behavior. Um, so that's just a couple ways that, I don't know, our to help with parent hesitance of getting kids to camp. We want you to know that we're trained. We are prepared to do our jobs to make sure everybody has a safe and fun time. Any questions thus far? I know I'm kind of rattling on, going off about a couple things. Cool. Scout hesitance. Does anybody have scout hesitance when it comes to summer camp? Here and there. Being away from home the first time may be kind of scary, maybe kind of difficult. Um, it- there's a lot of different ways you can kind of tackle that subject. Um, I like to tackle it with the recruitment method. Every scout at a certain rank, and somebody can shout out if they remember which rank, has to invite a friend. First class. Um, invite a friend to a meeting. Um, Having a friend go to camp with them makes it a much more comfortable experience. So it helps with your recruiting. It helps get more people in your troop to go to camp because they're going to have a great time at camp. But all of not knowing what that experience might be, knowing that there's 53 different merit badges being offered, that there's over 73 different program opportunities, making 126 different opportunities for them to do at summer camp. That's kind of a lot. So uh, having other friends there with them, that definitely helps. Cell phones. Every troop has kind of their own policy when it comes to cell phones, but allowing scouts or not allowing scouts to call home or, in case of emergency, call home. Uh, it can work. It may work. It sometimes doesn't work. But knowing that that's a kind of fail safe, or because we are very, very close, probably everybody here is a Rhode Island resident because Pat did the Massachusetts one. 45 minutes home, and a parent can come pick them up in case they are not having a great time. He rearranged some of my notes for sure. It's interesting. So yeah, Pat put his contact information up here. If you want that, I'm happy to give you my number. The only difference on the end is that instead of a 4, there's a 0. So that would be my number. That's his bookings link. You can't get to mine from there. And then mine is jonathan.delulio@scouting.org. Or you can reach out to campyagu@scouting.org, and that would hit both of our inboxes, and we're happy to help. Does anyone have questions? I know this is not like a Yagu specific presentation. If that's what you wanted, next week at Cranston Parkview Middle School is our Rhode Island leaders meeting. How many people are signed up to attend that? All right, nice. I know it's school vacation too for some people, so means you got all day to kind of relax and then lots of fun for 7 p.m. Any questions? Anything? Yeah.
the leader meetings a little later.
Yeah.
I appreciate them being a little earlier.
Okay.
Week one, this catches up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Earlier,
Awesome.
help the unit figure out. People can't wait until next week.
All right. That's awesome. Did you guys attend the Zoom program release? Okay. Did that help specifically more? Was that any use to your unit?
We're always, when we go to the leader meetings, like, need to know what the theme
Theme
is.
is, yeah.
And so when I came back and they're like, what do you mean? You know, they were very surprised.
Okay.
Not that they acted upon it yet.
Yeah. So we have changed the leader meetings months for the past 3 years. We did April, March last year, and February this year. So we're trying to gauge people's appreciation or not of the date changes. So thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns, anything? Cool. All right. Well, that's all I got. I will be in the back if you need anything. And thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Does anyone have any questions in pertaining to Roundtable or whatnot this evening? I do know my feedback box is out in the back near Ethan. It's red. If you have any comments, concerns, pull out a card and I will direct it to Laura. If you have any more questions, come on down or speak with Jonathan about Yagu. Otherwise, we'll hope to see you next month at Amica. Thank you so much for coming. Hope to see you next month.